see who's here. I figured this would be a better way to do this. Since I already did the video about the knife. Let me get this. Hang on, so let me wipe the screen off for you. Lens off for you. So no one's here yet, but so if you remember here a couple weeks back, I did a video about the prototype Minax that Elliot let me borrow because I was going to hard use. As you can see, it's gotten some pretty hard use. So there's a couple reasons why I'm doing this. I wanted to revisit the video and talk about how this performs and some of its key points, like the good points about it on the job site, and some of the like less than, what's up, Christian? Some of the less than optimal things about this. Now, I will say that it has done really well. It's held up really well. It's in 20 CV. This thing has been doing a lot of cutting on the job site. Hey, what's up, guys? So I've cut a lot with this, and I mean to the extent like I have had, Bridget, I've cut a lot of different materials on the job site with this so far. Filter fabric, the fiberglass matting we use, stuff like that. And this has held up really well. And it's done an amazing job. I would have to say that of the knives that I've been carrying, I've carried one. A D2 does not do too bad. That ZDP 189 Spyderco Endura, which I'm really frustrated with because it won't stay sharp. It won't get sharp. It was fine for a while, and then the more I sharpened it. So comparatively, M390 seems to be the leader so far in the stuff that I've carried on the job site. And a lot of it has to do with the profile of this blade too. So good things about this knife, easy to operate. I will tell you one of the things that I never really did a lot of was hard use test with if I was carrying a knife while wearing gloves, big thick work gloves. That D2 Ontario Rat and Tool, or that Ontario Knife and Tool Rat 1 in D2, it did great on the job site. Problem I had was the liner lock was so fucking difficult to disengage if you got a pair of thick gloves on. This is frame lock, so there's no problem with that there. One of the things that I do like about the Endura is its back lock, which is it's even easier than this. But this knife is really thin, along the lines of Sebenza thin, if not thinner. Actually, it's thinner than that. Really thin behind the edge profile. It cuts well through anything you're doing. So, yeah, I got your email. I'll take questions after. I'm just going to run through this real quick. So what I've noticed is that even when this gets and starts getting dull, it still cuts pretty well. It's got a nice thin edge profile. Problem is, okay, there's a pro, here's a con. It does have that recurve, which means that I can't sharpen this on a job site. The other knives, I was carrying a small diamond stone in my pocket, and I could touch up my knives on it. This, you can't do that. So basically what happens is after a day of work, I come home, and I've got a ceramic rod, and I just touch it up on the ceramic rod, and it takes that edge right back up. This has still got the factory edge on it, except for where I've touched it up on the ceramic rod. Have not done anything else with it. So it's nice and thin, continues to cut even when it starts to feel dull. It'll cut through cardboard and things like that. It does get a lot of grit down in the pivot on a job site. But, once again, these bearings versus washers, I just stick it under the sink and I rinse it out with hot water, and then I, like when it gets really gritty, and then I put a drop of knife pivot lube in it, or nano oil. The knife pivot lube does not seem to attract as much dust. So just all in all, this has been a great knife on the job site. So I wanted to, I wanted to go back and revisit. I said I would, and I just figured this morning would be a good time to do just that little quick, like 5-minute thing, and then we could, we're at about 5 minutes. And now we can talk about other stuff. But I will tell you that I ran this through a lot of paces. It cut stuff it cut some pretty tough stuff on the job site. So if you're ever questioning whether this is viable fucking EDC, it definitely is. Whether you're wanting something that's like something cool to carry, or if you're wanting something that's like holy crap, that's a workhorse. So other than that, that's just my update on it. It's been great on the job site. What's everybody else talking about? Hey, what's up, Nico? I was just talking about the Minax and how it's handled working on the job site. M390 is better than ZDP 189. It just is. It's easier to sharpen. It holds its edge. It seems to hold its edge better, even as thin as this is. So, what's everybody doing on this Saturday? It's beautiful here in San Diego today. My sleeves are I have worked enough that now my sleeves are a little weird on some of my clothes. They are. The ZDP 189 I was just having problems with. It just does not want to. It just doesn't want to stay sharp, or it doesn't want to get sharp. And it's weird, like if you take it past like 600 grit, it just like it's not sharp. You can like run your thumbnail up to it. So it's weird. I didn't figure ZDP 189 would have those problems. And when I first started using it, it was great. But then I noticed the big thing is like you can tell when this is getting dull. ZDP 189, it's like cuts, and then it just stops. It won't do anything. Like you put it on the fabric and it just won't cut it at all. So yeah, I think I'm gonna stop carrying the Endura. I'm still gonna keep it. I still love it. It was a gift, and I love the Endura series, and I've got it at a good 400 grit edge. It does not like the ZDP 189 does not like those diamond stones. Every time I sharpen on those diamond stones, you could just see like little spots where it just like it was chipping out and stuff like that. So, you know, there's some steels that like there's some steels that just do so much better on the aluminum oxide. I personally think S90V does better on aluminum oxide stones than it does on diamond stones. It gives you a different edge. It gives you a different, there's a different feel to the edge. And for most knives, those diamond stones that I use are great. Even on the softer steels, even though it does load the stones up a little bit more quickly. And I did. I left all those stones in that water last night. I need to go out here and take care of this. But let's see if this Wi-Fi will hold up while I do this. It's it's just one of those weird things that sometimes they don't hold up as well. I may have to. Let's see if I can do this from my watch. Let's ask my wife what's going on. She had something she wanted to tell Yuka Princess. I'm doing a live feed. Do you need help right now?
Okay, I'll send this.
There we go. Nico sold that Mordax. We were just talking about that. My friend that is Alex that works at Smoky Mountain Knife Works wanted an old school ferrum, and Nico just sold his Mordax. So, hang on a second. Probably call her from this. You guys want to hear that? He's interested in the Ferox I did too. Hang on a second. I call the wife and see what's going on. Yeah, if he's interested in the Ferox, yeah, we should probably fucking talk to him about that because you need. Hey, huh? What's up, babe?
I couldn't pay for a debit, but it was the system's problem, so I pay for credit for Redcar.
Oh, that's fine. It doesn't matter either way.
Yeah, so it's not your fault. I thought we didn't have money.
No. I don't use the debit feature very often because it always screws up. I just use credit. I just do it as credit. It doesn't charge us interest or anything.
Bye.
All right, bye. My daughter needs a pair of fucking winter boots to go to the Netherlands on Tuesday, and so my wife is scrambling. We're jumping through our ass on all this. And so there was a handful of you guys that did jump in on that GoFundMe. I really appreciate it because these are the things. We had to buy luggage. We didn't have any fucking luggage that she could really use. The suitcases got trashed. The suitcase that she could have used, the hard-sided one, got trashed coming back from their trip to North Carolina for that national camp. And the kid needed warm pants and warm boots and a jacket. we live in Southern California. We don't have that stuff. She has a jacket for on the ice, but the practice rink apparently at The Hague in the Netherlands is outside. And so she was definitely in need of, for a San Diego girl to be going out there and fucking tromping around town and shit like that. She's gonna need something. It's like it's fucking 60 something degrees right now in the dead of winter here. This is about as cold as it gets. It's like 44 in the morning. She's gonna want something for going around when like the high temp for the day is 45. So we had to get her some boots, and she needed some waterproof stuff. They're skating outside at the practice rink and all that other stuff. So I know that you may say it's not a necessity. Was that Kenny that was talking? No, it's Joshua. I know that Kenny's over there too. Hang on a second. There we go. Get the live chat up. There we go. I was missing people's stuff. I'm not talking like winter boots. Like she had a Sarah Uggs that she wears to the ice rink, and she outgrew them, and we just put off getting them because, you know. But now that she's going, she's gonna want like some water resistant warm boots. So just little stuff. So that I do appreciate that. The guys that kicked on the GoFundMe. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. But yeah. No, it's this has been doing well on the job site. Like I said, that Rat 1 was the only reason I stopped carrying a Rat 1 is I think I would have to take my glove off to disengage the lock. It was kind of a pain. That's why the Spyderco was nice. I was hoping that ZDP 189 would be better. I got to fix this light today too. My light don't work. So yeah, and I just hadn't done a live feed for a little while. Until, I mean, I did one the other day. I did one here not long ago, and something, I'm not going to get into what happened, but I was not able to do live feeds for a little while. YouTube would not let me. I don't know, somebody got upset and if I can flag the video or something. So, but I got it contested, and I got it contested, and it got taken back. Like it was a false claim, and so I got my ability to live stream back, but you know. Basically half my videos got demonetized all at once, and I fucking had to go back through and request. Once something happens like that, it's a fucking cascading thing. It screws up a bunch of shit on your channel. So I spent some time correcting that, and I put in a fucking a rebuttal to the complaint. So, and it was fake, of course. But you know, it's kind of a pain to have to do that for review. And I've got to get up today because we cooked the other day, and the seam up here, just the paint seam, it's bad. But I have to get up here because we cooked some stuff the other day, and now I've got a big fucking greasy stain up here because we used the deep fryer. I didn't think it was gonna make that big a mess. I used the Fry Daddy, so I gotta clean that today. Get that grease all down. It's all over Nico's cabinet doors that he dipped for me. I was like, man, I didn't think that Fry Daddy would make that big a mess. I was hoping, you know, because it was kind of off the side. Nope, made a fucking hell of a mess. So, what's everybody else doing? What's everybody got going on their Saturday? I'm waiting for responses. Nine. Okay. So where's everybody going? I'm down to the part where we interact. Yeah, it's Saturday. Don't judge me. There we go. So dumb. Let's see. I guess nobody wants to talk. Nobody wants to hang out. Everybody just wants to watch me fucking stand here. We're taking the recycling in today. That's not gonna be fun. Guys, these live feeds, sharpening your new K90 Spyderco police. K390. You know what? I've heard a lot of good stuff about that steel. really like S125V. I don't like sharpening it. I don't like grinding it. I don't like making a knife out of it. But the end result, it's amazing. I did the test that Big Brown Bear did, and I was cutting the blank before I ground it. There was no edge or anything on it. It wasn't finished. It was just basically heat treated. Hadn't even been blasted yet. So just the corner of the blank, I was cutting into a glass beer bottle around the neck of it. I was like, man, that shit's fucking hard. That stuff is pretty intense. But when you grind, it takes forever to grind. It takes forever. It just eats up belts. Oh, are you doing the Jehovah's Witness thing? You taking around copies of the Watchtower? Losing a little respect for you, Nico. My grandfather was the only person I ever know can make a Jehovah's Witness go, hey, well, look at the time. I gotta go. I gotta be going now. Sharpening a couple of videos. Hey, I saw, Neves, I've seen you guys', I haven't commented on any of them. I watched a couple of you guys' videos. One of them was the big giveaway, like I forget how many subscriber giveaway. That was pretty cool. Guys, what was it? Outer Limitless. Outer Limitless has got one of the stonefish that he's going to do some videos about. Did you guys do a video about the sea snake? I can't remember. I know you commented on somebody's about the $250 price point being the tipping point. I don't even have one of the stonefish here, except my prototypes. The prototypes that came in, the handles were too thin on. I can't remember if you did a video or if it's just that I saw your comment on somebody's. LTK. It was LTK's video that you commented on that I saw. Yeah, 250. Just so you guys know, I had nothing to do with setting the price point on that. But when you get down to it, it's a fucking $250 knife. I would pay, as a military guy, for a knife that was designed with the thought process that I put it in. If somebody else had made it, I'd pay $250 for that, because it's an investment in gear that I would have used. For a lot of people, a $250 fucking fixed blade is out of the realm of something they would want. But for a lot of guys, like your avid outdoorsmen, your fucking military guys that fucking spend a lot of time in the outdoors or need gear like that for their loadout, that's not a bad price to pay. I'd rather pay the price and have a quality tool that I know I can rely on than have a tool that they gave me that does not meet my needs. Like I've got several K-bars, I've got several cold steels that were issued that they never fit the bill. The SRK was a little closer, but I had a Bowie knife that I carried. What was that? If I was using fixed blades right now, I would totally would. Yeah, I mean, I think that my little fixed blade EDC, that Sea Snake, I think that that's a better option for a lot of people. And it's going to be at a much lower price point. What's up, Steve? It's going to be a much better price point. That's like better suited for like the average person's EDC. I think because Artisan is releasing it, I'm trying to get the prototypes. Hey, Ashton, I sent you the money for that stuff, for the stuff you gave me the other night. I just PayPal'd it to you. The Sea Snake's going to be at a much more affordable price point. I told them that they want to do two versions of it. They want to do a dressier version, and I told them that I wanted them to do a bare bones, still really good quality, fucking budget version. So we landed on one that's going to be either just below 100 or at 100, and then the other one's going to be, it's going to be like carbon fiber and a better steel and more embellishments, like their topographical carbon fiber that they have and things like that. So I think that is probably going to be a better option. I love the Sea Snake design, and that's all I wanted to get. Oh, but after saying that, now I'm interested in looking at Hey, what's up, Chris? Yeah, and I talked with the guys at about doing a folding version of the sea snake. And the only problem I have with that is you're gonna lose some in the translation as far as the grip. And that's been my thing about why I like fixed blades. Why I love fixed blades is a handle on a fixed blade is strictly that. It's just the handle. And on one of these, it's your locking mechanism, it's where your blade has to sit, so you have to have certain size limitations on the handle. It's got your pocket pocket thing. Yeah, sea snakes. The PDFs on the sea snakes been done forever. So there's so many more limitations on the handle. Like you can get a folding knife good and comfortable, but it's a trade-off. Like, oh, it's really comfortable, but it really is comfortable for a folding knife. So a folding knife handle has to meet a bunch. That's got to be a certain thickness because your blade comes up. You can't have the blade sticking out the back. It has to be a certain length. You can't have a blade to handle ratio where your blade is more than your handle. You can't do it. And on the sea snake, I don't think if you looked at that sea snake that you could make that blade fit in those handles, no matter what you did. And so, then you've got the limitations. It's going to have a pocket clip. It's going to have hardware, which limits the width of the blade inside the handle. And so to get things, right, it's going to take a lot of work. Finalizing stonefish handles. Yeah, so here you go, guys. Christian is working on making handles for the stonefish. I was going to show you guys something that is just. Let's go for a walk. I gotta go to my bedroom to get it. I know where I put it because I was looking at it, trying to think how. The other thing that we had talked about is I would like to do a dagger version of the stonefish, like a stonefish 2.0, which is a dagger blade. And I had a thought on it. Let me grab the prototype. It's in here. I'm waiting on all my stonefish to come back. Christian has the one that I had been carrying. Outer Limitless has the tan one that was part of the Apex pass around group, and then Hiking with a Viking has the green OD green one that he is testing because he's basically like a sponsored bow hunter. So there were things that sorry. There were things he was going to test it doing. So what I was thinking was that this thumb ramp would still be here. There probably would be like a small almost acting like a small choil, and then this would be a double blade with the same grip. But yeah, this blade will not fit in this handle. There's just no way. And the thing I'm afraid of is that by the time we get the handles reworked to make it a folder, it just looks too much like the Horizon D, because I mean the blade shapes are really similar. I like the thumb ramp on that, so I kind of duplicated that on and on other knives that I've had and seen that had that forward thumb ramp. I'm afraid what would happen is you would wind up taking this and it would just turn into this, and the world does not need another Horizon D. This was good enough on its own. There doesn't need to be, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And if that's the way that this is going to pan out, that this knife looks and feels so similar to a knife that I really, 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 truly love, then I don't think we're gonna be able to do it. If we can maintain this overall thing, because there were items and elements of other knives that I looked at real close, like this jumped thumb ramp on the rear. That's the Microtech DOC. Big forward finger choil, the Microtech DOC, and a lot of the Ferrum Forge knives. The handles having the grip was something that I took from other types of tactical knives that I'd found, that where it's comfortable in my hand and I know I've got good purchase, and in reverse grip, I've got it locked in. There's no slide, finger guard, all that stuff. But But if you take it from what it is and try and turn it into something else, then you're going to wind up with, I'm afraid we're going to wind up something that's not a good representation of the stonefish being a folder. You know what I mean? And then you have things like this that come in. This was sent to me as a gift for my friend Jesse for a giveaway. This is a mess. I don't know. He's like, hey man, I got some knives. I don't want to just throw them away. You want to use them as a giveaway on the channel? I was like, yeah, sure. So we got this one. And then you got the buck flipper, non-flipping flipper. There's like no detent on this. This actually is not a bad knife though. I can't remember what model this is. This is a buck 845. I can't remember what the name of the model was. This is not a bad little knife. I actually do not dislike this knife. I just wish that if you're gonna put a flipper on it, it should flip. You know what I mean? It shouldn't. This was my experience with my first hinderer. Oh, I got it flip that time. That was my first hinderer. Now I can't get it to flip again. So my first hinderer was like that, and I got fucking raped over to Kohl's on the secondary market for that knife. So there's that one, and then there's another knife, which this is not a bad little knife design. This is one of those 511 Tactical, sells a lot of stuff. That like this is a Chinese made. It doesn't even say. It says authentic 2011 Tactical 511 on one side, and then it just says China right here. It doesn't say anything about the steel. But Jesse sent me these. These are probably going to wind up being giveaways. And I have to apologize, Taz, if you're watching. That knife that was part of the giveaway that I sent you got returned. I'm going to have to figure out a different way to label it. It got sent back. So we'll get figured out. I am going to send you that fucking knife that you won in the giveaway forever ago that I've shipped. I think I've shipped it twice now, and it's come back twice. I have to make sure. I think I'm doing something wrong on the customs form. So it's still in there. And I still have mystery boxes, guys. There were mystery boxes. What about a folder that is maybe heavily inspired by an older folder? There are several older folders that would be... I don't, here's the thing. I don't like my knife designs. I don't really want them to be derivative. I don't want people to look at them and go, oh, way to go if I can copy this. Or, oh, way to go if that looks just like this. I don't want that. Now, like I said, there's a lot of similarities in this knife between other knives, but that's because I took elements from really good knives and was like, hey, you know what I can do? I can add these elements. The handle was mostly all of this was things that I would have wanted, and that's why some people don't like it. But for me, it's perfect. Some people don't like the finger. It limits me in this. But the fact is, I have different indexing positions that are like I guarantee I know where that knife is in my hand because I have these little indexing points and things like that. Some people don't like the redacted tang. I like it because one of the big things about it is it lets this chipping stand proud. It prevents chipping on your fucking handles, and it allows you to use this end of the knife as a striking pommel. Like I can get a hold of this now and I've got a solid piece of metal. Like I can use it as a glass breaker. So, and yeah, I am tired, guys. I didn't sleep real great last night. In case you're fucking looking at me, you're like, man, he looks worn out. My body hurt. We worked really hard yesterday, and my body hurts. We had two truckloads, but there were double boxes of soil that came, and also a load of, yes. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, and Ashton and I disagree about things like pocket clips. Ashton loves deep carry pocket clips, but Ashton is a fidgeter, not a knife user. I don't like deep carry pocket clips because they make a hot spot. They make the knife stand up, and for me, a knife is a tool, and for me, it's got to be comfortable in hand. If it's not comfortable in hand, if I pick it up and I'm like, nope, like he has the Atom. What was it? The Atom, the really thin one. It's the Atom, right? And I love the knife, but the only way I'd buy that knife is they came out with a bent clip option. Oh fuck. So like this pocket clip is a little proud for my taste, but in a pair of gloves, it's not a problem because it's nice and thin and it sits in a part of my hand where it's not pinching and things like that. Deep carry pocket clips a lot of times come down all in and then they get this big loop and it sticks out past and it's just everything about it just bothers me. And then for me, a deep carry pocket clip in my pocket is something that I don't fucking want it because now I have to reach deeper into my pocket to get the tool that I'm going to use, even in daily carry, because of, so you know it's a lot less obvious. And I was like, at this point, so many people carry knives that if they see a clip, when they see a clip sticking out of your pocket, it doesn't matter whether the top of that knife's sticking up or not. They fucking know you got a knife. So a deep carry pocket clip isn't fooling anyone. Some people like them because then it doesn't catch, like Ashton's like, oh, it keeps your hardware from getting scratched, stuff like that. Okay, I'll agree on that one. But guys, if you've ever seen how hard I am on stuff and then I just refinish my shit, I've re-anodized this one 5-6 times. Pocket clip gets all scratched up and I'll just repolish it. I'll just refinish my shit. I don't care about preserving how these knives look because I know I can come close to duplicating it. But the fact is, it's still something I'm gonna have in my pocket, I'm gonna use. Yes, I like my fucking attractive like man jewelry knives like this one and a couple of my other knives, but in the big scope of things, I don't shy away from fucking using them either. I would carry this on the job site if it wasn't for the fact that the bearings on this are set in plastic. The plastic Delrin race, I'm afraid that this one would be one that brace would wear out. Like the metal races, I'm not as worried about, but you get grit down in there and then it starts eating away at the plastic around the balls and then the balls are falling out of your fucking, out of your bearings. So this would be one that I just wouldn't carry because it's dirty. It's a dirty job site. We're digging holes and digging in sand and digging in gravel all the time. So optimally, when I get my prototypes of the sea snake, I'm carrying one of those. I don't mind the plastic bearing races for like a light use knife, like this one. This one would be a knife I'd put in my pocket. This would be something that would be like my gentleman's carry. This would be something that like if I was going somewhere with the wife, this would be in my pocket because it's attractive. And if I pulled it out, it's fancy and it gets attention and people are like, what is that? Then I have to go through the whole thing. I was like, this is a knife that changed the knife world for a lot of fucking knife makers because this was the first fucking real high-end production knife. Not much has been on my work. What has been my work knife? Oh, I thought you said what's been on my workbench. So I carried this for like 2 weeks. I carried this for a couple weeks. This is the prototype Minax. Elliot, let me borrow. This is the Wii Minax. I've been using this. I had stopped. I carried a ZDP 189 Endura, Spyderco Endura, and I'm not happy with it. It cuts and then it just all of a sudden stops. But I also carried the Ontario Rat 1 in D2. And I did like it, but I ran into problems like I was saying earlier. You can't disengage the lock. That liner is so thin and the gap is so narrow that I just can't do it with gloves on. So that one sits in the case again and is all cleaned up. But the other thing with the ZDP 189, it's really, really rusty. It really wants to rust. And I don't know if you've worked hard enough I don't know how many of you guys work hard enough that you sweat your belt through. Like when you sweat your leather, when you take your leather belt off and there's spots where it's wet all the way through, your knife is getting wet. And ZDP 189 just wants to rust. Even when I put oil on it. The first time I cut anything, then put it back in my pocket and I pull it out later, you're seeing surface rust on it. So it's been ZDP 189 D2 and the Wii Minax in 20 CV. And so far, this has been the crowned winner. I am going to carry my fucking Fire and Forge intact and see how that one holds up. Because, I mean, I can refinish it as well. So I mean, I'll carry my other knives. There's just a few I won't carry because I can't duplicate the finish on that, on the Fortis that Nico got me. Hang on a second, I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm gonna go get my case. Hang on, it's right here. So there's some knives I just won't because there's things about them I can't duplicate. I'll show you the ones that I won't. These are just the ones I wouldn't carry. There's very few of them. I won't carry these. One, because they're illegal for me to carry on the job site. And two, the grit and stuff that you eat down at OTF. Not gonna carry that. I won't carry this. This is 100% something I like just because it's fucking cool looking. So that one wouldn't. This one won't. This knife has a special place in my heart, and I wouldn't want to ruin it. But basically, everything else in this case, I mean, I carried this on the job site a couple times. Now it's real fucking dull. Carried this, same thing. S30B did not like cutting anything on a job site. It feels like a butter knife as you go down it now. This one did really well, but as you can see, D2 as well, rusts real easily. That is 100% because those are my pocket knife sweat. But the knives I wouldn't carry, yeah, I'm not buying another knife just because of that steel. That was a gift. I didn't buy it because I couldn't justify paying as much as they want for a Benchmade. I don't, sorry, I love the knife, but I can't justify that price because Benchmade's quality just doesn't do it. I would love to have one in S90B. This knife I would never carry on a job site. I just wouldn't. It's a Ferrum Forge, maker's choice that is hand finished. The anodizing on this would be fucking super, super difficult to duplicate, and I wouldn't be able to do it. I'd have to ask Chris. It's two-tone. So I don't want to screw that up. And I mean, probably not carry this one. I do carry this one for certain things, for working. But this one's great. This one probably not, because I really like the way it looks, and I don't want to screw this one all up because this is a nightmare to duplicate. So this one probably wouldn't get carried. I mean, I carry it for certain stuff. This one, all day. I'll carry this one. As a matter of fact, you can see I've cut enough stuff with it that there's fucking spots where I've cut through and marred the finish and stuff like that. But that's okay. I have two of these. I have my father's. I bought one of these for my father. I loved this knife so much that when my father retired, his retirement gift was a Ferrum Forge Intac. This one would get carried. This one would get carried. This one may get carried. I can duplicate the finish on this one. So this Mordax, the OG Mordax. This one I have carried. My Ferrum Forge Mako. You got Matt's Mordax now. Yeah, he was telling me. This one, but there's two more that I just, more than two. There's a couple in here I still wouldn't carry. This one, I can't duplicate this exact finish on this blade. This knife this was a gift from Nico. This is probably as close to a safe queen as I got. This actually gets used less than my Maker's Choice knives because this was a gift. This was a fucking serious grail knife for me, and finally got one. It's the exact one that I wanted, and I even embellished it. I did black ceramic and the black logo, black hardware, black clip, and this does not get carried often. This gets carried when I'm going somewhere where I know that I'm not going to be fucking using a knife for anything. But if emergency, I'd still have to use it. But love this knife. Love this knife. I wanted one for so long, and I finally got one. Nico got it for me as a gift. And it, like I said, exact finish. It had no pocket time. There's not even a mark on the stop pin on this one. that one wouldn't get used. And then this one, I wouldn't use this one because there's only a few of these in existence to begin with. Elliot doesn't like the knife. It was a gift from Elliot. And these are like getting older and having problems, and they just can't be fixed. So this doesn't get used or carried often. If it does, it gets carried lately. Just because of what it is. This knife gets used. God damn, the D10 on that sticks sometimes. This knife gets used even with the ceramic on it. You can see you might not be able to see, I've carried it enough, I've worn the ceramic. If you guys have ever had a knife ceramic by me, you know that fucking ceramic's pretty resilient. This ceramic has been worn off. This gets carried fairly often. My Bob Terzola. This one I haven't carried on the job site just because it's not great in gloves. It's real thin in gloves. It's great to carry, but I don't think this would be a good work knife. And not gonna lie, the steel S35VN, while Wee's S35VN is really good, the steel is the same steel that's in this. I used this on the job site a couple days, and it just doesn't. Can you see? You see the edge? It just doesn't hold up. I carried my Sebenza one day, and it didn't make it. It didn't make it, and I had to come home and immediately sharpen my Sebenza. So, you know, it's not I wouldn't carry it. It's just like, this is not, as much as this is a work knife, not the right knife for the environment. So that's one of the things when you're getting knives. I have coated a Damascus blade, and it's not going to be what you're thinking. It's because the way to coat that is going to be, it's going to limit, let me see here. It's going to limit what you can do with the ceramic. Ceramic has a tendency not to want to stick to things that aren't blasted real well. I lucked out. I got lucky when I did the red on this because it adhered really well, but it doesn't work often. And that was several tries. So to do it on Damascus, you're gonna have areas that are polished and areas that are dark, and it's not gonna come out as well as you would hope, and it's not going to last anywhere near as, like those buttons, the stop pins, those are still blasted. I masked everything off and I blasted those because I wanted those, and they're still worn. So, and then I have to do a video about this. This is our friend Matt's knife, or Jeff's knife. My ground knife accidentally micro scratched the blade while stropping, very minor. How would you fix it? I wouldn't. You're gonna cut stuff with it. So if you're gonna cut stuff with it, you're gonna have those problems. I mean, even my ground knives, like the stuff I've got in here, they've got scratches because they've been used. This gets used all the time. Once you get a scratch on that, you can't really polish it out. Unless you take it and you go back and you put it in a vise and you sand out that scratch and then go back through the grits and then polish it, and then you're gonna have the same problem again. So I know it sucks, and you know, like, I want to keep this knife pristine, and then you mess around and you sharpen it, and what happens is the grit from the stones actually comes up, and it will get behind, and you get scratches behind your actual edge. What are other versions of S35s to be better than later batches? I don't know. I really don't know. I know that S35VN is a little softer in some knives, and it's not gonna give you the same performance that you're gonna see in M390 or 20CV. But then again, there's other benefits to other steels. I want an M4. I want a knife in M4 for work. I've sharpened enough M4 and used enough M4 and seen enough of the outdoor reviews, the guys that really tear into knives and like beat the fuck out of them, that the M4 is a really, really good option for a knife. And I was thinking about, I've got some knives that I don't carry. I was thinking about selling a couple. I actually sold a knife at the knife show. I gotta get with Nico and get that money. I forgot about that. from his friend. It's, you know, I sold that. I'm thinking about selling a couple of knives that I don't ever carry. You know, they're gonna be cheap. They've been used. They've been carried. And then I'm gonna get something in M4 probably in a secondary market. I know there's some good knives out there in M4 steel. So, daughter leaves for the Netherlands on Tuesday. God, you guys have no idea how excited I am about that. Yeah, I love M4. Here's a knife. Ashton actually gave me this knife. Ashton, since you're commenting. BD1 steel is it's another steel I don't like. I like the knife because it was a gift. I don't like BD1 steel. It's sharp, but it just doesn't. It feels sharp, but then when you try to cut, it just doesn't fit. It doesn't feel right when you cut. You know what I mean? It feels nice and crisp. BD1N. Yeah, I've had BD1N. As a matter of fact, I believe BD1N was what my first. I believe BD1N was what my first fucking Sabenza was in, that I sold, was BD1N steel. Cold Steel's Aussate is great. This is a nice, incredible knife. This was a knife that was a gift from my father a couple years before he passed away when they first came out. This is an Aussate, and Cold Steel's Aussate was always great. I don't want 3V Neves because it rusts. Trust me, 3V rusts. I've refinished a lot of the Ferrum Forge knives that were in 3V, their original folders, and I'm not gonna lie to you, the Ferox I think was in 3V, and if you blast it and rinse it, it will rust before you can get it in. It doesn't rust. I'm talking like if you are carrying that knife from the blast booth to the finish station to try to put ceramic on it, and you take your thumb off of it, there's a fucking rusty fingerprint in like the distance of like 30, 40 feet if you're not wearing gloves. The typical process from when we do the ceramic is you blast, then you rinse off any of the dust and shit in the sink, and then you dip it in a little bit of simple green and make sure there's no oils and stuff on it. Rinse it again and then dip it in the ceramic and adhere it. That's too much for 3V. You basically have to take that knife from the blast booth, walk over, holding onto it with a fucking hook that you're ready to fucking electroplate the ceramic on with, spray it in the sink, and immediately just dump it in the fucking ceramic. You can't go through the other steps because in and out, being wet like that short period of time, it will rust. And it looks like, the finish looks like shit. Your other option is you blast it, you tumble it, and you go, and then you put Renaissance wax on it the second it comes out of the tumble, because that seals the pores of the steel a little bit. You do construction too? We're working, I've been doing bioswells. We do landscape construction. I've been doing bioswells the last 2 weeks. Those things are a nightmare. Putting those 30 mil liners in, put a 30 millimeter vinyl liner in the bottom of a 60 by 30 pit, and then try to get it stuck in there nice and square, but the pit isn't, and you're trying to get it up along the edges. And then you got to fill it with gravel, and then your drainage, and then more gravel, and then the sand, and then the fucking soil. It's a nightmare. We had, what did we have yesterday? Two trucks. 80 cubic yards of soil yesterday, plus 20 cubic yards of gravel and 20 cubic yards of sand. And we shoveled all of it. And there's only Giovanni, me, Matt, Joel, Horacio, Thomas, Seth. Seven of us? So 7 of us doing that, and it was it was a long day. My hands hurt, so I'm not doing anything today. I had intentions of sharpening a couple knives. My hands hurt and they're swollen. I can't even get my wedding ring off. My hands are swollen. What is your take on new releases set for this year? Any good ones, bad ones, in your opinion? I don't pay attention to new releases. I really don't even know what's coming out. I just basically, wait until I see something that strikes my fancy. The only new release, like this new, if this is a new release for this year, it's great. The one big release that you should be looking out for is, it's called the Sea Snake from Artisan. Hint, hint, hint. There's two versions of it. There's a fucking economy version and then a pricier version. The more you sell, the more my kid gets to do, or the more you buy, the more. Yeah, I'm actually excited about that because I don't own one, and so when the prototypes come, that means I get to own one. So I've got one that's in the works. You guys saw it up on Instagram. It's fucking, it's pretty good. So I can't have too much beer today. I'll drink that and I'll wait an hour. I've got to do recycling and I got to buy a bulb for this. And I just got some general stuff that the wife and I need to do. Yeah. No, it's a fixed blade. So, no, I don't want to. I don't want to make a folder out of that one. The Sea Snake is actually out of character for me because the blade is actually small. The blade is actually shorter than the handle. It was 100% to be an EDC knife. So if you look at the handle plus the forward choil, from the end of the handle up to where the actual edge is, you've got a much smaller blade than you have handle. But it's a nice little Warncliffe blade that the shape, well, I mean, it's this style blade. It's a blade shape like this. So it's a really nice straight edge, and you can get way up on it and do fine little detail work. It's 100% a small fixed EDC fixed blade, and it's small enough, and it's small enough that you can carry it, you know, pretty much anywhere most people would know. I was carrying it in a suit, and nobody even knew I had a knife on. And it's going to be scout carry and stuff like that. So it's just, you know, it's just something that I like EDC. I like fixed blade knives. I think your best bet with any knife is going to be a fixed blade. No, I haven't even got prototypes yet. So, all right, guys. Well, the wife and kid are here. I'm going to take my sore body and if I can get all the recycling put in the car and go do recycling here in about an hour. So you guys take it easy. Have a good weekend. Why did I change from we? Nothing special. I didn't have a problem with we, and I told them I had another knife I was going to release with another company, and they were fine with it. It was strictly because Artisan had openings in their production, and we currently does not. We knife is completely full. They're like, we can take on no more stuff. I actually have another design that's coming out with from another company. So 3 designs, 3 companies. So anyway, guys, the family's home. I'm going to talk to them for a little bit, and
Going to take a nap. Thank you.
All right, we'll go take a nap.
That is my speech for the Nobel Peace Prize.
So, love you. So, it's you know, you don't have to stick with one company. I'm not sure. The third company, I'm pretty sure that the third company, well, we'll get into that some other time. But yeah, I mean, there's no reason that you can't have, I mean, let's look at it. Who am I thinking of here? There's a couple designers that have knives with like 3 or 4 different companies. There's guys that have knives that they design for Strico, and then there's knives that they have released with Millet and stuff like that. We're going to talk about Millet one of these times in the live feed when I get spun up about stuff. Well, yeah, I would say Elijah Isham's got designs with more than just We Knife Company. So, hey, Doug. dog. So at any rate, guys, I'm going to get off of here. I've got stuff I got to do. I will talk to you all later. Take it easy. I'll see you next time. Have a good weekend.